Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have some more audio stuff. I might as well show it to you. This is my living room, and there's some of the audio equipment I showed you earlier. This is another one that I have, and this is a Harman Kardon HK690i stereo receiver. And in the day, like 1985, 86, 87, when this thing was new, this was their flagship stereo receiver. This is overall the best of all of their systems. I'll turn it on for you here. Rated at about 70 watts per channel or thereabouts. Extremely potent. I got this thing off of eBay for, I don't know what it was, $100. Did some capacitor changes and things like that. And this is really a pretty excellent receiver. Just a little background. This is modeled more off of some of the features that are found on some of the earlier integrated amplifiers that Harman Kardon had. You know, so it has tone defeat and bass turnover, treble turnover, all of that. It does not have phase correct loudness. This is just a regular loudness control. Some of the more expensive Harman Kardon equipment had phase correct loudness, which was actual circuitry in the loudness circuit itself that would give this thing better phase correction at lower frequencies, which to your ears gave you clearer low end. And this is one of the features that I wish this thing had. But again, they probably wanted to save some of those for their integrated amplifiers. 2 tapes, 1 phono, AM, FM, decent FM front end on this thing. It's pretty much all digital. This does not have a tuning capacitor or anything like that. Not quite sure what the sensitivity is. Probably 1.8, 1.7 microvolts, something like that. One feature this does have, though, is very low negative feedback. Generally speaking, all right, the better an amplifier is, the lower the negative feedback has to be. Most amplifiers, to keep them stable, they take some of the output and they put it back into the amplifier, and that acts as kind of a governor on the amplifier so it doesn't run away and do all those nasty things. But the better that they can design an amp, the lower the negative feedback. Most amps probably around 30 or I don't know 28. This is 12 dB of negative feedback, which is the same as their upper end integrated amplifiers. So this is an unusually smooth, warm sounding amplifier. It has a phono section in it that is the same one that they put in their separate integrated amplifiers, and those are excellent. I mean, they really are excellent phono sections in these things. This is a high current, very dynamic amplifier. It will break your guts if you hook this thing up to some capable speakers and put some capable digital type of music in it. Again, you want to play Lady Gaga, Poker Face, I don't know, Halsey, you know, I'm bad at love. I keep repeating that. But it has some great digital effects in it that really push these amplifiers. But this produces everything from Halsey to Mozart effortlessly. When I got this, as I said, I replaced some of the caps, did some cleaning on the controls. It still has a little problem on the FM, where some of the FM is distorted on it. I haven't found out what is causing that. I'm not sure. But eventually I'll get there. I have this thing hooked up to a Technics SL-B20 turntable. I'm not really a great fan of this particular turntable, and I'll tell you why. It's because all they have, and I'll show you back here, all they have are these presets for the weight on the turntable. It's ridiculous. And I guess that's supposed to be cheaper, or it's done that way for dummies who don't know any better. But the problem is that for these things, okay, for those to be accurate, you have to have the cartridge that it was sold with. So if you want to put on another cartridge, an end mount cartridge, which is what this takes, then you're sort of out of luck and you sort of have to guess. So this is a fairly heavy cartridge because it has, you know, a damper a Viscets damper up front and all of that. So I have this thing set to about as light as I can set it so I don't damage the needle, and I'm hoping, since I don't have a gauge here, that this is tracking at about 1.5 grams, somewhere in there. This is a Radio Shack, don't laugh, RXT6, I think, which is their top of the line cartridge in the day, in the mid 90s. This is basically a Shure V15, and it's a 2x7 elliptical stylus. And that's just a little smaller than my Audio Technica, and I think a little smaller even than my Grado. I think the Grado cartridge that I have over in my stereo cabinet with my JVC is a 3x7, not a 2x7, which is what this is. And I think for my listening taste, 3x7s are, I think, more musical sounding, and I gave you the reason why. I think maybe it's because the 2x7s fit more snugly into the groove, which may make it so that they're not as free to oscillate. That's probably just me talking. Anyway, this is not my favorite turntable. It is not. Quiet. It has, left and right output, and then it has a ground screw, and you do have to hook it up, or you'll get noise from the DC servo and all that nonsense. Pretty cheap turntable, but it's relatively enjoyable. I mean, it isn't anything perfect, but the real masterpiece here, really, is the Harman Kardon PM or HK, 690i stereo receiver. Even though it doesn't have the phase correct loudness, this is still a contender, and still one worthy of getting on eBay, though these are really rare. This was being the top of the line. There aren't a whole lot of these out there. You can get some of the receivers below this, but this was pretty much it for Harman Kardon. Anyway, just thought you might want to see that. This is for my audio stuff. And if you want to check out some of my other channels, my other channel, I have a link to a Father's Devotions on this channel as well that you can check out. God bless you.